My name is Nico Lagan, and I'm too conservative for the conservatives. My co-host, Rob Ambrose, not woke enough for the liberals. We are the political orphans. As always, make sure to like, make sure to comment, especially comment, because we always want to hear from you. So make sure to drop a comment in the box below. Now, what are we talking about today? Well, you know, I have a bunch of subjects I want to talk about, but I wonder if we're going to be able to get to it, because there's one subject that's been trending all weekend ever since Friday, and it's Doug Doughboy Ford's anti-tariff ads that completely backfired in his face. And now Trump has announced that not only is he putting the trade talks on hold, but he is slapping a 10% increase on all Canadian exports. So thanks a lot, fat ass. What's going on, bro?
What's up, man? How was your weekend? Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was not smart. That was not good. That was not a smart decision.
No, it was not. It's, you know, it's so dumb that it's hard for me to believe that he would do something like that. Because before we get into it,
yep.
No matter how you feel about Donald Trump, no matter how you feel about was Ronald Reagan accurately displayed in those ads, why would you ever do that to a guy like Trump? That's the thing. No matter if you're right or not, why the fuck did you do that?
That's the issue. It doesn't even matter if you're right, and it doesn't look like he was right, but it wouldn't matter because you got to know Trump, man. You got to know. I mean, what does Sun Tzu say? You know thy enemy, know your enemy, and know thyself. And Doug Ford does not apparently know his enemy at all, or himself.
He knows.
He knows that he's hungry. He knows that he's hungry. Yeah. He knows when he knows food.
That's funny because we did not rehearse that. That's funny.
No, at the same time we came to the same.
What? We're both gym rats that take care of ourselves. You have to admit that's always the first thing you notice about somebody, right? I judge people all the time because of that.
Of course,
the way you present yourself, I'm like,
everybody does. Like this nonsense with like renaming stuff, right? Like renaming. Well, first you can't call it fat anymore. Now it's obese, and now even obese is starting to be offensive. And it's like none of the words don't matter. The issue is the fatness underneath, and you can change it to. Or the same thing with like, you know. They're not homeless anymore. They're unhoused people. It don't matter. They're still fucking homeless. Whatever word you call them, they're still the thing. Yeah, of course everybody's, you know, you can change the words all you want. People still judge people. And I wouldn't say judge, although a lot do, but assess people based on how they look, how they carry themselves, how they take care of themselves. It doesn't mean everyone has to be a gym rat, but like if you're just a slob and fat and you know, people might look at you a certain way.
And we do. Sorry, we do. We judge you.
And to be fair, like you know, if I see like a overweight guy or girl in the gym, I don't judge that person. I say,
that's not the same.
No, this person's trying to improve themselves.
100%.
We've all let ourselves go to some extent, right? And then the only thing that I judge people for is if they've sort of are not taking care of themselves and don't care to, you know.
Yeah, well, I don't let you know what, you can do whatever you want to your body, but don't come to me giving me life advice if what I consider to be literally the easiest thing you can do is take care of yourself. I'm not listening.
No, that's right.
I'm not listening. So guys, before we get into it, I just want to make an announcement because I'm gonna say Rob and I decided, but it was kind of a weird decision. But either way, we decided to kind of create a separate page for the Political Orphans, because the page we've been using for almost a year now was basically my old YouTube channel, and I was still posting on it like it was my page. So 75% of the content that was there had nothing to do really with the Political Orphans. So we did do a rebrand for a separate page with none of my personal dumb shit on it. It's only gonna be what comes from the show. So guys, please go follow that page. It's at the old name, at the Poly Orphans. And just give us a like there, because we are going to stream. We stream on like 6-7 different platforms. But we needed to separate my shit, because a lot of it has nothing to do with the show, and we believe that it's not helping with bringing this to new people. So FYI, add the Political Orphans, same name as usual, it's just a different page with a lot less followers. So go there, like, comment, and make sure to subscribe over there. Also, we do have merch available now. So there is hoodies, t-shirts, beanies, caps, mugs. And yes, for Pam, I did go back and create women-only clothes. That's just for you, Pam. So there are t-shirts and hoodies just for women. Obviously, beanies and caps is all the same for everybody. But yeah, that's all I had. Unless you have something to say, I will get into it.
Go like and like the page over there. You can still comment and you can still hang out for the show on the Nico Lagan one if you'd like. It doesn't matter. It's still the same show, same comments, but we would appreciate if you did do a like and follow that one as well. It'll just give us a boost in the algorithm and just kind of get the show to more in front of more eyeballs. Exactly. But other than that, I'm ready to go. You want to jump into it?
Yeah, man.
Hey, Moonglow, how's it going? Say hi to a few. David FL.
Yep.
Good to see you, sir. Michelle DeVos says, finally made it just in time. Well, better late than never. Better, I guess you're not late
better
anymore.
Early, better on time than never.
That's right. You're here now. It's all that matters. Wise guy, what's going on, brother? And Brian Benny B. Hey, guys, and Chad. Good to see you, sir. Kim RS. Hello to you. Lots of new faces. New handles.
Yeah,
I guess.
I'm just gonna put it as a
just type it in the chat.
I'm just gonna drop it there. There you go, guys. Add the Political Orphans. So it's the same name as it was before. Pang. Oh yeah, right. There's 2 YouTubes now. So there you go. You guys have it. Close enough for government work. I don't get that comment. Hopefully it will make sense eventually.
Yeah,
it might be my lack of sleep.
Dano, give us a clarification on that. Wise guy says, I still think there's an effort to turn Canada and the U.S. relations sour in order to move closer to China. 100%. A stupid, dangerous idea. Yeah. I mean, and you know, we often debate conspiracy theories and intentions, and I think that's a valid debate. And for a show like this, that's what we do. But at the end of the day, you know, the intentions kind of don't matter as much as the fact that this is what it's doing, whether they're intending it or not. This is clearly what's going on, and that's a huge problem. I have no doubt that there are people, powerful people, and it's possible, you know, some of our politicians, including some of our very high-up politicians, might prefer a closer relationship to China than the United States. And I agree, that would be a stupid and dangerous idea.
Oh, don't forget what Trudeau said, that he actually liked the way China was ran, right? Because they do have authority over everything. So obviously
he likes the social credit score.
Of course he does. Just but you know what, wise guy, though, as the conspiracy theorist here, I completely agree. The plan all along was, Carney's plan all along was to destroy the relationship that we have with the US. And what's taken place since Friday is just showing that Carney's not alone in that boat, because it is the first time since the COVID mandates that I've seen liberals, conservative, and NDP premiers work together throughout Canada, because you'll see Doug Ford's not the only idiot that think that those ads were a good idea. And this is what blows my mind. Like, it's not just Doughboy that enjoyed them. Other premiers in Canada loved it, and they were NDP premiers. It's mess. It blows my mind. I've never seen all the parties work together like this. And it's not good, because that's not the type of shit they should be working together on. How about fixing our economy instead of making it better, instead of making it worse?
Yeah. I mean,
but that's too much to ask. That's too much to ask, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like they work for us or anything.
Dano clarifies. He says, I'm late, and this is so it's close enough for government work, saying he got here only 5 minutes late. So yeah, that's early for government work. That's like a half hour early if you're only 10 minutes late.
So let's get into the first video, because there's a bunch. I did a bunch of research and I organized a lot of kind of the events, but this video is actually solid. CHCH News did a solid job putting it together. It's about the best video I found, so here we go.
Another hiccup in U.S. trade talks. Donald Trump has called them off in an angry social media storm about an Ontario government ad campaign, which uses clips from a Ronald Reagan speech opposing tariffs. Premier Doug Ford responding by pushing back on Trump's tantrum this morning with a message of his own.
High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars.
It uses a real radio address on free trade from the original Republican president who wanted to make America great again.
Now, that message of free trade is one I conveyed to Canada's leaders a few weeks ago, and it was warmly received there.
Clips from this nearly 40-year-old speech by Ronald Reagan were edited together to create the one-minute ad, which has been running on American TV since last week. But the anti-tariff message from a president often invoked by Donald Trump has Trump fuming on social media starting late last night. Canada has fraudulently used an advertisement which is fake. Based on their egregious behavior, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated. Then
We'll address that, right? I found some videos that explain this. I did some research. Is it fake or not? You'll see. But like we said at the beginning, who the fuck thought that was a great idea? Oh, let's piss off Trump even more. Like, what the fuck are people thinking?
Not smart.
This morning, he posts again. Canada cheated and got caught. They fraudulently took a big buy ad saying that Ronald Reagan did not like tariffs, when actually he loved tariffs for our country. Trump cites the Ronald Reagan Library, who claim the ad misrepresents the speech, although they don't say how, and the speech is clearly and firmly against tariffs.
One of the parts that's interesting is that the foundation, the Ronald Reagan Foundation, might sue Doug Ford. Can you imagine? Because they see this as interference, right? Not only do they feel that they misrepresented Ronald Reagan, Trump, as you'll see, I got a video from his Treasury Secretary, they see this as propaganda. That's not good when the U.S. is our biggest partner, buys 75% of our exports. And not smart. Not smart.
Like, Donald Trump's obviously is just not. He's gonna
vindictive.
He's vindictive. He's not gonna like this. But the American psyche as a whole is very strong against any attempt to influence its domestic policy, and that's the only way you can see this ad. The only context you can see this ad is it was an attempt. Doug Ford was speaking to Americans in an attempt to apply pressure to change American policy, and Americans do not like that. It doesn't even matter who you are, what side you're from. It was stupid all around. I think clearly if the Ronald Reagan Library says it was misrepresented, and I think they meant this speech was misrepresented, because I think broadly speaking, I'm pretty sure Ronald Reagan was pretty big free trader. He probably was against tariffs, but that's really not the point. The point is, you knew this was going to piss off Donald Trump. You're clearly attempting to influence American domestic policy, and this is not the way to go about it. There are ways you can try to influence American policy, but this isn't one of them.
We'll see about what Ronald Reagan actually thought about tariffs.
Yeah,
because there's nuances there, and I think that's what they don't like. Is because as you'll see later on, the video was edited. They took pieces that were, let's say, at 3 minutes, because the original address is about 5 minutes long, but they took pieces of the address, they put it at the beginning, they shuffled the order of the address in order to make the ad that I'm going to show you later. So technically they left very important parts out. They didn't mention something that Ronald Reagan did at the time of that address and why he was making that address, but technically it was misrepresented, but you'll see why. But like you said, even if it was bang on, who the fuck do you think you're dealing with? You're dealing with Donald Trump. He ain't gonna like this shit.
No, he's not. It's
like, it didn't take a genius to understand that you're fucking poking a bear that's already has us in a bear grip from the back, and all he has to do is a little, the swing at the end that kind of breaks the back. That's all he had. Breaks the back, drops it, and walks away. That's where we are. Little fatty is in the air. His feet are not touching the ground. He's getting choked. His back is about to break, and he's like, "Ah, let's run an ad to piss him off even better." Pop! That's it. We're on the ground sleeping now with a broken back.
Yeah, it's all over.
Facts aside, the administration is running with the claim.
Canada was running ads in the United States on tariffs that took President Reagan's words out of context.
Premier Doug Ford responded with
Look
his
at
own
him.
message.
Do you not want to
first on
smack
social
that
media
guy?
while sharing the
Doug
full
Ford.
video of Reagan's
Yeah.
speech? President Ronald Reagan knew that we are stronger together. Ford also telling at least one reporter that the ads would run during tonight's first game of the World Series between the Blue Jays and the LA Dodgers.
We
Talk
stand
about
ready,
pissing them off.
To pick up on that progress and build on that progress when the Americans are ready to have those discussions.
But after talks with Prime Minister Mark Carney, Ford released a statement this afternoon saying the ad campaign would stop on Monday after the spots run during games 1 and 2, so trade talks could resume. Our intention was always to initiate a conversation about the kind of economy that
Bitch,
Americans want
please.
to build and the impact of tariffs
Are they so
on
sure
workers and
that these
businesses.
trade talks are going to
We've
resume?
achieved our goal, having reached U.S. audiences at the
I think
highest
that's a
levels.
given.
Many Canadians are supportive of the ad campaign, including the Premier of Manitoba, who shared this on social media.
Fucking Wob Canoe.
Doug Ford,
Wob.
keep the ads on TV. They're effective, and this country is behind you.
And the mayor
No.
of Niagara Falls.
What an
And I
idiot.
think what
Look at
we're
his
doing
stupid,
is getting
smug
to 'em.
face.
I think it's being effective. Keep it up, Premier. Keep it up.
And some people we spoke with today.
Of course, the only people they
biggest
speak
fan
to.
of Ford, but I agree with him there.
Others were concerned about blowback.
Yeah, because listening to the boomers is how to get out of this mess. That's really worked well for us.
This is exactly what I was going to say. The
fuck's
last
sake.
thing you want to do is to listen to people in their 70s.
Yeah,
Right
go-
now, they fucked us up. They fucked us on the last election, and now we need to listen to them. Yeah, no, sorry, not sorry. No,
Yeah.
no.
No, that's not. I mean, I heard a few things in there that kind of made me think twice here. First of all, this idea that as soon as we stop the tariffs or as soon as we stop the ads, we'll get back into negotiations. I mean, maybe, I hope, but I don't think that's a given because I don't think Trump has said anything like that, and especially not if they're gaming the system like this. Like maybe if as soon as he did his as soon as he put out that tweet, they're like, oh, okay, we're going to cancel now. But if they're going to play games, it'd be like, oh, we'll let it run for the first couple games of the World Series. Then we'll cancel them. We'll pull them on Monday, and then we'll get back to the table. I don't think Trump's going to I don't think he's going to go down with that. I think he's going to say, oh, you guys are going to fuck around. All right, I just won't come to the table. We don't have any leverage. There's no reason. There's no way to force Donald Trump to the table if he doesn't want to be to the table.
$75 million of taxpayers' money was spent on that ad campaign. 75 fucking million
That's
dollars.
insane. How? Why? What? That's crazy.
It's running all over the US, and now that twat Doughboy actually spent money to run ads during the World Series, one of the most watched event in fucking North America. He chose to run ads. So obviously those ads, to run that 1 minute ad, is going to cost him millions and millions and millions of fucking dollars to run it once during one match of the World Series. 75 fucking million. What a dumbass.
That's crazy, man. This is the worst political decision made by a Ford brother, and that's saying something considering his brother was on film smoking crack with gangbangers.
But you saw what the Wob Canoe said, saying, "I stand with you." David Eby, the NDP premier of BC, saying the same thing, that he will launch anti-tariff ads as Ontario pauses
These
controversial
fucking idiots.
campaign.
Are-
But listen to this. In a series of social media posts, BC Premier David Eby said that the ads will be aimed at an American audience to explain who wins and who loses with the tariffs. So he wants to basically continue.
said,
You know what?
aim at an
You know
American
what you should
audience,
do?
right?
You know what
Aim
you
it at
should do? Find an Obama speech that you can spin around to make sure you piss off people on both sides. Now you pissed off the Republican. Let's find a Democrat. Let's find Clinton. Find something Clinton said and spin it around. Spin Obama. Make sure we piss all the Americans out. Like, what the fuck are those guys thinking? Who approved of this shit? I didn't say yes to this, did you?
These idiots are trying to playing geopolitics. First of all, they're outside their lane because these are premiers. international relations is not their remit. But the only thing they're worried about is owning the right wing, owning Trump, and like it's idiotic, right? It's just trolling. It doesn't matter if it hurts Canada. It doesn't matter what the strategic benefit of it is. All that matters to them is that they get some tiny win in their own minds where Trump might look bad for five minutes. It's idiotic. Like we've already gotten, I think someone had mentioned it here. We've already got 10% extra tariffs. He just slapped 10% more tariffs on. Like, yeah, Derek Sittler already cost us an additional 10% tariffs. Those are real tariffs, they have real world effects. And is this is cool to you just to stick it to Trump? And Trump doesn't really care, other than that he doesn't like to be disrespected, but it's not hurting Trump in any way.
He gets dissed on millions of times. Like for the longest time, Trump was the most searched guy on the internet. I wouldn't be surprised if he still is today, that he is the most researched man of all time. Do you honestly believe he gives a fuck about what you think? He doesn't. But he will use that to make you pay because he's vindictive. At the end of the day, it's going to work to his advantage because we have to go back on our knees. Like Carney's going to need to take one. Carney does not have a choice to. Even Carney told Doug Ford, like, bro.
Yeah, you can cut that shit off. I really think this idea that we'll just cancel them on Monday and then we'll get back to the table.
That's even worse. Worse.
Yeah, I don't think Trump's good. I don't think that's a given at all. That Trump's going to be cool with that.
But that to me is even worse. It's like, I was having a discussion with my mother-in-law, and I don't know why we were talking about this, but we were talking about how people never get in fights. And I've been in many fights, both in the ring and outside the ring. And you know what's worse than getting punched in the face? Getting slapped in the face.
Oh, yeah.
It hurts less, but it's way more insulting. And this is what it is to me. You're not going to knock out, unless you're one of those guys, okay, there's people that can knock you out with a slap. I've seen it. There's competitions of it.
Well, you see, those are brutal, though. Those are fucking brutal. But usually in the real world, the slap is not that bad. But it's disrespect. They say you're not even man enough to waste a punch.
And that's what it is.
I'm gonna slap.
But the backhand really was popularized in French culture. But you know what happened when you smack somebody in the face? You fucking dueled. People took guns out, and it was done. Somebody had to die.
With a glove, right? They challenge you to a duel, and they slap.
But that's what Doug Ford did, right? Doug Ford didn't do any real damage to the U.S. He can't punch that hard.
No,
he doesn't have the leverage. But he backslapped Trump, and now it's up to Trump to decide what comes next. 10% increase. And I saw some estimates. You're talking about billions and billions and billions of dollars here. I don't have the exact number, but that's a massive amount of money so not only did he spend $75 million of taxpayers' money in order to get us a 10% increase in tariffs that's going to cost us billions of dollars. Like, what a retard.
That's terrible. It's Dave B. Thank you, sir. $5
Thanks
tip.
For just the tip. Love
just
the
tip. It's if anyone plays poker out there, a good analogy is to think of it as, imagine you're sitting down at a Texas Hold'em no limit table, and you've got $100 in chips, and the guy beside you has $150,000 in chips. There's nothing you can do to hurt him, right? You can go all in. He's like, okay, just fucking click one chip off this giant stack. Cool. Like, there's nothing we can do to hurt the United States. We don't have any leverage. Yeah, we can cause a drop in the bucket. Like they can like that take our economy down by 10%. It might take theirs down by 0.5% or something, but it's a rounding error for them. But for us, it's real. It's real jobs. It's real people. It's real paychecks, right? And you can't fuck around with this shit just to own the cons and own the Republicans and own Donald Trump, right? Just to troll them. It's not effective. What that Wab Canoe guy, what he's saying? Oh, it's effective. No, it's not effective. It's not.
We're behind you. No, we're not.
No, yeah, it's not effective. Nobody is looking at that and be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna call my congressman and tell him that I saw an ad with Ronald Reagan and he's got to tell Donald Trump to not put tariffs on. And even if they did, Trump doesn't give a shit. Trump's got a plan, and frankly, his plan is to fuck us. Like, that is clearly what he's doing.
That's
I don't
pretty
even think he
obvious.
has. Yeah, I don't think he has any intention of negotiating, and that's why you don't keep doing this shit. Don't give him any excuse to hurt us more, because he's itching for it. He's itching for an excuse. And,
From the get-go, we had to make a deal. From the get-go, we had to. We knew that it would cost us because he's putting tariffs on everybody. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
but we have an advantage because we have the biggest natural border between two countries in the world.
Yep.
We have the biggest economy in the world right there. We can literally cross the border with trucks. We don't even need to put them on ships. It doesn't need to be put on airplanes. We can literally truck them down. We have the biggest strategic advantage in the world. And they buy 75% of our shit. We knew this from the get-go. We've been speaking about this since Carney spoke about this during his campaign. At the end of the day, we had to make a deal. We have no leverage. It's up to us to suck a dick. We need to get Bukaki on this one, and guess what? We're gonna get fucked. But I'd rather get fucked by a Chinese dick than by a big black veiny cock, and we're getting the big black veiny cock now because we're trying to stand up to a guy that we had no leverage. So why piss him off when we could just, you know what, take it for the first meeting, just say, you know what, Mr. President, we understand. Make the best deal. Oh, it's 5%, 10%. Okay, cool. Done. That's it. We shut the fuck up and that's it. We go back to business. We develop. Yeah. Then we can exploit our natural resources over the next 5-10 years and become less reliant on the US.
Yeah.
But right now, in the short term, in the medium term, we need to take a dick. And now we're up to the 12-inch cock, veiny, black.
Yeah, it's like
we're gonna take the big one now. We're gonna take a big one, and I think he's gonna bring some homies. He ain't gonna be alone. We're getting trained.
Yeah, it's like going on a date.
Trained.
It's going on a date. It's like going to a Diddy party and looking around and realizing that you can kick and scream all you want, but it's gonna happen. You may as well just grin it, just grit your teeth and grind through it.
But Dave B is absolutely right. What did they think is going to happen? Like this, exactly. This is the only, you could have asked me, I could have told you, I'll take $1 million of that 75 and I'll tell you what not to do. 2-second advice. It'll save you $74 million plus billions of dollars in fucking tariffs.
And I absolutely guarantee you that 75 million that went to, the firms, the design firms the marketing firms that came up with this, those are Doug Ford, his buddies own those firms, and those are connected.
Probably
right?
Related to Brookfield, probably.
Yeah, that's how this kind of shit works, right? And so it's laundered corruption. So because it's not official corruption, because you're like, oh hey, we paid for a service that they provided. Yeah, but you gave it to your buddies. Your buddy owns that marketing firm, and they probably did $5 million worth of work and charged you 75. It's garbage, man. That's why they don't care about the backlash, because the point wasn't even, what was the point of this? There was no real point other than to enrich their buddies.
Well, before I show you the actual ad, and I found a video from CBC, which is actually pretty funny because they kind of break it down to say, was it honest? Wasn't it honest? And even though they call it to be honest, they're kind of showing that it was not. It's absolutely hilarious. Like they can't even when they try to be unbiased, they're biased as fuck. Very, very funny. But this is a part, and I think Wise Guy spoke about this earlier, but the address that we saw that they used in the ad is a 1987 address on tariffs on Japan. And the worst part is that President Ronald Reagan imposed a significant 100% tariff on selected Japanese electronics. At the time, this move was widely seen as a bold and controversial move. Understanding the rationale behind the action provides insight into the complexity of international trade policies. The health and vitality of the U.S. semiconductor industry are essentials to American future competitiveness. We cannot allow it to be jeopardized by unfair trade agreement. To prevent severe damage to the world's free trade system, the Japanese government had decided not to immediately retaliate. But do you see the words, the health, vitality? What has Trump been saying from the get-go? That it's in order to rebuild their economy, they have to put tariffs. See how they spin. So even if the ad was actually not biased, They left that part out, that the address was made at a time where Reagan was putting tariffs, 100% tariffs on certain electronics coming from Japan. So even him believed in tariffs. They're comparing it to today, but if you change the mindset of Reagan and put it in today's world after 50 years, what did I say, 1987, so almost 40 years of free trade with China, I'm pretty sure he would see the unfairness that has developed over the past 4 decades to say, yeah, maybe tariffs are a good idea. So their actual ad, I can show it to you right now.
Yeah,
unless you want to respond right
there's
away.
definitely some nuance here. Like Ronald Reagan clearly was, broadly speaking, anti-tariff. He was a free trader throughout most of his presidencies. He's known for that. But at the same time, I believe this speech itself was related to those Japanese tariffs. So he wasn't anti-tariff. He was for strategic tariffs, whereas he didn't like them, but if they made sense, then he was for them. And yeah, that was a different world than the world that we live in today. And it's entirely plausible. A reasonable person could have been, anti-tariffs in 1970 or 1980 and pro-tariffs today in 2025. It's a different world. You can't really compare the two. And I guess, for people like us who have political podcasts, it's worth having these types of discussions, like, what Reagan actually said and whatnot. But at the end of the day, as we said when we opened the show, the most important thing is, it's going to piss off Trump. He can hurt you, and you can't hurt him back. So why fucking do it, even if you're absolutely correct?
Which clearly they weren't. But here's the ad that Doug Ford paid $75 million. That's the ad campaign.
When someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. But over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. Throughout the world, there's a growing realization that the way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition. America's jobs and growth are at stake.
So that's the ad. But listen to this. This is CBC. I just want to show you CBC and because they broke this down, and I found the video to be very interesting.
Okay, I bet you weren't thinking the 1987 Ronald Reagan speech would cancel US trade talks with Canada, right? But here we are. Donald Trump has called the Ontario government's ad using Reagan talking about tariffs fake. And the Reagan Foundation says the ad has misrepresented the address. So let's compare. First off, the speech isn't fake, though it is edited. As you'll hear, the lines are used verbatim. Here's the ad.
High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation.
And here's Reagan's speech.
High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation.
Now, in the 1-minute ad, the order of some of the lines have been changed. For example, the opening line of the ad.
When someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports,
it's said about 2.5 minutes into Reagan's speech.
when someone says, let's impose tariffs,
The following line in the ad.
but over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer.
Was said more than a minute before in the speech. But are his words misrepresented in the ad as the Reagan Foundation claims?
Absolutely not. I think they're really just positioning themselves to avoid the wrath of the president.
That's Doug.
See, so they're admitting that the video was so I edit content for a living, right? I never change the order of the content I edit. I don't take something and then of course it can. So they're literally saying, no. Our expert is saying, I'm an expert, and it wasn't false what they did. Yeah, it is. That's fraud. They literally fraudulently use this speech. I can make you sound like anything I want. I can have you say, we've created so much content together. I can go through our content and be able to make you say whatever the fuck I want if I get to pick and choose the words and just, and especially, did you notice one of the trick that most people out there won't realize if you don't edit content, but it was mostly images. Just at the end, you see Reagan. So basically, you don't see cuts of the video. Because if I edit a video and it's video, you will see the cuts. Like, even though you might be able to hide 99% of them, you will still see there's a tiny cut. But once you do it just on the audio and you run what we call B-roll on top of it, oh, bro, I can have you say, I can go back 1,000 episodes that we would have together and just chop them all together.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a great point. And the other thing, too, is just, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second. Let's say what he said in that video was mostly more or less like what he meant and whatnot. I don't think any of that actually is making the point that Doug Ford is saying he's making, because he said a couple things he said they might work for a while, but in the long run, they're bad for America. I don't think anyone, Donald Trump included, thinks that tariffs are something for the long run. Right now, he's in the phase of it might work for a while. He wants it to work now, and then in the long run, he can take them off. So I don't actually see any contradiction between what Ronald Reagan said, even if it's what Doug Ford said he said, and the point. Like, it's not making the point that Doug Ford thinks it's making. They think it's making that Ronald Reagan, if he were alive today, would be against the tariffs that Trump is putting on, and maybe he would. But it's entirely possible that right now is one of those moments where he's saying, okay, now is when it makes sense, right? Let's have it on for a little while, and then in the long term, we'll take them off. I don't think anyone's thinking tariffs are going to be there permanently. And, you know, it was a different world back then, 30, 40 years ago. It's entirely plausible that Ronald Reagan would be in favor of these. And even at the end of the day, what the fuck does it matter what Ronald Reagan would have thought 40 years ago? We have to live in the real world. And certainly as us here in Canada, we're not going to be able to remove Donald Trump. We're not going to be able to get him off his positions. You're just poking the bear here for no reason. Yeah, this is a good point from Dano. How did that cost $75 million? Some couldn't. Now, it's not just that. I assume the $70 million.
It's not the editing. It's the ad campaign itself.
Includes the purchase of the spots. But again, you know, you're running, like, yes, it's the World Series, sure, but it's not the fucking Super Bowl. And what Super Bowl is, what, $6 million for an ad? You know what I mean? Like, $75 million, that reeks itself of corruption. You know, I'm sure that there's I'm sure there's been some of Ford's buddies who have connections with some of the companies that are involved in this.
So I just did a quick search because I don't know the numbers by heart, obviously, but according to media buyers, the average unit cost for a 30-second ad in this year's World Series works out between $465,000 and $520,000. So you're looking probably around, let's call it $1 million, give or take, to run a 60-second ad during the World Series. So he would have to run it 72
times. Yeah, no, there's just not that many. Yeah, I watched both those games, and I think I might have saw it once. I'm sure it was maybe I missed once or twice, but
they ran it all over the US, right? It's not just during the World Series. They run it all over the place, but this is, we know that there's no way it costs $75 million.
No, that's not. Yeah,
somebody, there's a third party firm that did the ad and is taking care of, you call them ad managers. So there's an ad manager company somewhere that made a shit ton.
You pay them $75 million, and then they buy the actual spots for $30 million or whatever it was, right? And that's how it works. And it's corruption, and it's absolutely. And Doug Ford will probably get a percentage of it, and that's how it works.
Now, before we get to the comment, because I don't think we're going to be able to cover much more than this today, but I wanted to play one more because, you know, it's Blender News. You know, you remember the Blender News guy?
Yep.
And he made an extremely interesting point. And if I'm not mistaken, he is from Ontario. I think he is. I think he's around Toronto, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure he is. But he made an interesting video asking for Rob Ford to leave, to resign.
Doug Ford needs to resign. Not next week. Not after another apology tour. Today. Because what just happened isn't a simple political blunder. It's a full-blown act of international sabotage paid for by you, the taxpayer. Let's get this straight. Doug Ford thought it was a good idea to spend $75 million of your money to run an ad campaign in the United States using clips of Ronald Reagan to lecture Republican voters about tariffs. Let's think about that. The Premier of Ontario, a Canadian province, literally tried to manipulate the political conversation in another country. And what happened? Exactly what any half-competent person could have predicted. It blew up in our face. President Trump just responded calling the ad fraudulent, accusing Canada of foreign interference and terminating all trade negotiations with us. So congratulations, Doug. You've just managed to make Justin Trudeau look like the responsible one. And let's pause here. Why in God's name is the Premier of Ontario wading into U.S. trade politics, spending tens of millions of our dollars to do it when our hospitals are understaffed, our schools are broke, and our economy is choking on debt? He didn't just waste $75 million, he torched decades of trade relationships that support millions of Canadian jobs, just to make a flashy ad the Republicans were never going to listen to in the first place. And let's not forget, this wasn't even a truthful ad. The clip of Ronald Reagan they used conveniently cut out the part where Reagan went on to defend selective tariffs.
It hasn't always been easy. There are those in the Congress, just as there were back in the 30s, who want to go for the quick political advantage, who risk America's prosperity for the sake of a short-term appeal to some special interest group, who forget that more than 5 million American jobs are directly tied to the foreign export business, and additional millions are tied to imports. Well, I've never forgotten those jobs, and on trade issues, by and large, we've done well. In certain select cases, like the Japanese semiconductors, we've taken steps to stop unfair practices against American products, but we've still maintained our basic long-term commitment to free trade and economic growth.
It was a manipulative edit, and now it's backfired on the entire country. Doug Ford didn't just embarrass himself, he embarrassed Canada. He damaged our credibility with our biggest trading partner and poured gasoline on an already fragile economic fire. This, of course, isn't leadership. This is recklessness. It's arrogance, and frankly, it borders on treason. Because when you knowingly act against your own country's economic interests and use taxpayer money to interfere in another nation's politics, you've crossed a line that no premier should ever cross. So yes, Doug Ford should resign immediately. Because if there's one thing worse than liberal corruption, it's conservative stupidity. Ontario deserves better. Canada deserves better, and every taxpayer who just had $75 million lit on fire to fund this foreign propaganda stunt deserves justice. Doug Ford didn't defend Ontario. He just sold it out.
Brilliant video. He is 100% bang on every single point. This is treason. What Doug Ford did, he should not only resign, but he should see legal consequences. Because he literally interfered in politics in a different country in a time where we're seeing that China's interfering in ours. Like, bro. This is not good.
You know, they can say all they want. Oh, it's not it's correct because he actually said these things. Yeah, but that's not the point. He did say those things, but the premise of you got to look at the premise of the ad. The premise of the ad is Doug Ford wants you to think that Ronald Reagan was anti-tariffs and would be against tariffs today. On the point of what he would do today, we have no idea. So there's no point in speculating. But that video was a video where he was putting tariffs on Japan. So he very clearly is actually in favor of tariffs when it makes strategic sense. So you can make the case that, what
Trump's doing the same thing.
Trump is doing. Yeah. So it was misleading. And it occurs to me as he was talking, like, and this is almost probably the strongest evidence, or at least the strongest inference, that there's corruption here, and that Carney in some way may have benefited. Because why isn't Carney speaking out, right? Carney is the one who has to deal with Trump, right? Carney's the one he's the leader of the federal government, it's their job to deal with international trade. It is not Ontario Premier's job to deal with international trade. So from Carney's perspective, you have this Premier who just absolutely torched your negotiations with the United States. And not only that, he's not even a member of your fucking party, right? If he was also a liberal Premier, you could maybe say, oh, he's just protecting him. But he's a conservative. Why is Carney not fucking torching Doug Ford right now? Why? Like, this is a member of the opposite party who has just demolished everything you're trying to do in trade, and you're not saying a word. Like, even if it's just to score cheap political points and do a partisan attack on him, you'd expect something like that. The fact that he's not doing any of that is really, really, really suspicious.
It goes back to what I've been saying for a long time, that they're playing the same team. It's going to be very, very hard for anybody to convince me that there's not a massive uniparty in Canada. And now we have NDP premiers, we have conservative premiers, we have 2 NDP premiers. David Ibby from BC, we have Wab Wab Canoe from Manitoba. Then you have Doug Ford as a conservative, and then you have our prime minister, a liberal, that just seems to, we're hearing crickets here.
Yeah,
like, it is them. I don't remember ever seeing anything like this since the COVID mandates, and I'm flabbergasted that anybody would think that this was a good idea. And not only was the guy from Blender News calling for his resignation, but his liberal opposition in Ontario, like Doug Ford's opposition, are also calling him to resign. And don't be surprised if Trump makes a statement going after Doug Ford for interference. Do you you're talking about a guy that is very fucking vindictive.
Oh, wow.
Very fucking vindictive. So don't be surprised that something comes out of Washington saying, yeah, Mr. Doug Ford, we see you as XYZ. You're going to have to answer to us. That dude, I think, he's gonna have to leave. I think this is a blunder of a career that he needs to be ended. At this point, there's no fucking way he can stay. There's no way. There's no way he can stay after that.
Yeah, no, it's just it's so weird. You know, Greg S says, no, he's not. Doug Ford's a liberal. Yeah, no, I understand.
Oh yeah, 100%. We agree. We talk about this all the time. Agree.
Yeah, and I understand ideologically. Yeah, he more or less is, but
100%.
Officially by the party, he is still a conservative. He's a progressive conservative. And if you know anything about how politics works, you always harp on the other side, especially if it's your mistake, you always try to pin it on the other side. And it's just really weird how Carney is not saying a word about this. It boggles the mind. It doesn't make any sense unless, you know, Carney benefited from this in some way, or was directing it or whatnot. But it's just, it doesn't make any sense to have, you know, someone who is, at least on paper, a member of the opposite party, who is absolutely tanking your trade agreements that have nothing to do with it. He is not supposed to have anything to do with international trade, and you don't say a word? That is crazy to me.
And I want to take another one from Greg S, because I don't remember ever seeing him before. So what's going on, Greg? But Carnage is knowingly tanking Canada. Oh, I've said this from the get-go, that Carney's here to finish what Trudeau started, and we don't have conservatives in Canada. If it's your first time here, just know that I'm a conservative Christian, and even Pierre Poilievre is not a conservative. So no, Doug Ford is definitely not a conservative. But like Rob is saying, the party he's supposed to represent is conservative.
Yeah.
So this is the irony of it all. NDP the NDP, which are basically communists, agree with conservatives.
Yeah,
what the fuck is going on? What the fuck
it's just
is going
wild,
on,
right? Because like in any other universe, a liberal prime minister, if a conservative premier tanks a liberal prime minister, or if it's vice versa, if it's a conservative prime minister and a liberal premier tanks their trade negotiations, they're going to be calling this, they're going to be throwing the guy under the bus, if only to save their own skin, because this makes Carney look terrible, and he's not saying a word. That just strikes me as so sketchy.
And Bristle Tube's absolutely right, dude. We tariff countries as well. We have 100% tariffs on EV cars from China, so we're no fucking better. That's the thing. Like, the fucking idiots. They're doing it. What was Rusty Wiener saying again? Fuck, I need to write it down. I'm
I'm
gonna get it tattooed.
It happens too often to be coincidence or something like that.
Fuck, it's so much better the way you said it.
Yeah. We'll get old Rusty Wiener here
to repeat it for the third fucking time because we're too fucking stupid to remember 6 words. But it's literally, it is too consistent. Oh, this is it. It's too consistent to be incompetence.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's hard to argue with it. Kellyanne Matthews says, I firmly feel this was 100% a Carney Ford idea to keep Trump bad going into the budget. If it doesn't pass, an election comes and Carney can keep using Trump. Yeah, I mean, that has a ring of truth to me. It certainly sounds plausible. And again, the strongest evidence of something like this is that Carney's not saying anything about it. He should be out there torching Doug Ford. He should be saying that fucking guy does not speak for Canada. We apologize to President Trump, like the things a normal prime minister would do if a member of the opposition party, torches his trade negotiations. So the only reason he wouldn't is if he doesn't want Doug Ford to be like, well, wait a minute, Mark, we actually cooked this up together. So it's sketchy. It's just super sketchy all around. And one thing I was going to mention, remember at the very beginning when you played the news clip, it stood out to me. Do you remember the wording that they used? The guy was talking about this. He was like, and Trump had his tantrum. He called it a tantrum. Yep. And I was like, that is how this Trump derangement syndrome gets like drilled into, especially the boomers' heads. It is speaking like that, right? Because the word tantrum clearly implies that he's wrong. Trump is wrong.
He's a kid. He's a child.
He shouldn't respect him. He's an idiot. It's not like that is how the media does it, and it's kind of subtle. But when you're aware of it, like would they say that about Obama? If Obama said the exact same thing, of course not. Of course they wouldn't. If Biden mumbled the same thing, of course they wouldn't. It's just the way that they manipulate public opinion on Trump is by reporting exactly like that. No, he's the president of the United States. You can't call it a fucking tantrum. I mean, me or you could, or a regular person, but like you're the media man. Like that is not how you report on the president of the United States.
Especially not crowdfunded. Like those are funded by taxpayers' money. This is the left media propaganda arm of the Liberal Party, CHCH News. So as Dano's saying, and that he's absolutely right, I forgot about that, but Carney right now is hiding in Asia. For the next week, he's not in Canada, he's in Asia to try to negotiate new trade agreements with Asia. So he's not even here, so he's not going to respond to this.
No.
It's fishy as shit. That, hey, Dougie, by the way, I'm leaving next week for Asia. The ad we talked about? Time to run it. And he leaves. Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you. Like, no way this was not
pull
coordinated.
The
There's and Canoe. Make sure you come out to say this was a great idea. Ibby, make sure to come out. It was a great idea too. Guys, you guys are ready? Friday we fuck shit up.
Yeah, get all the Liberal premiers together. Bristles Tube says
NDP even worse.
Yeah,
NDP.
They cooked this up in Muskoka.
Good point.
Yeah,
good point. When they all met. Good point.
Yep.
Good point.
You stir the soul. This is kind of the same thing as Rusty Wiener says. One is accident, twice is enemy action. Yeah. All good points. Kenzie Cragen says the Dems are trying to remove the presidential power to place tariffs. It's in the Supreme Court. Reagan made the speech in 1987 because Dems were trying to remove that very same power. Yeah. So, I mean, that's an interesting context for sure, because that is going on in the Supreme Court right now. Is the Democrats are trying to remove Trump's ability to place tariffs. And frankly, as Canadians, we should hope that succeeds. We don't want tariffs, but that's exactly why you don't put stupid ads like this out, because Americans, whether they're Supreme Court justices, whether citizens, they have a visceral reaction to the perception of foreign interests trying to influence their domestic politics. Of course, it happens all the time, certainly under the table. But like when it's overt, when it's something right there, you could imagine a scenario where perhaps some conservative Supreme Court justices might want to get rid of Trump's ability to put tariffs on. But now that Doug Ford's put this fucking video out, now they feel they can't because they don't want to be seen as kowtowing to fucking Canada. You just can't bend the knee to fucking Canada. Like, I was gonna vote to take away Trump's ability to put tariffs, but now this fucking fat fuck up in Canada is telling us that we have to or we should. No, fuck him. That's a reasonable scenario that could happen. If the best case scenario for us is the Supreme Court decides to get rid of these tariffs, but we have to let that happen on its own. We cannot be seen to be trying to influence that, or it won't happen.
I couldn't agree with you more. That's a good point. And Joe Stradamus, you two are really trying hard to make Trump sound smarter than he is. It is a lost cause, but no, that's the whole point. That's the whole point, is that it doesn't fucking matter what I think about Trump. At the end of the day, this is the dumbest fuck. Even if the ad was 100% accurate, that it did not shuffle what Reagan said. Let's say that the ad was 100% accurate and true. Why the fuck would you poke a guy that is vindictive like Trump? Why would you ever play that game when you have no fucking leverage? We are at the mercy of the US. Plain and simple. We need to accept that fact, and we accepted that fact a year ago. Fucking when Trump came back in November, he was reelected in November last year. He was decided to be the next president. You knew that he would fuck shit up. You knew. He has nothing to lose. So it's not that I'm trying to make him look smart. I'm trying to show how fucking stupid we are. Because we're dealing with somebody that is easy to deal with at the end of the day. Brush his ego, shut the fuck up. Let him be the hero. Let him be the big cock in the room.
Yeah, that's how you have to do it.
That's it. Shut the fuck up. Say yes, Mr. President, you're absolutely right. Go back home with a good deal. That's all we had to do. Shut the fuck up from the get-go. But no. On the contrary, Joe, it's not that I'm trying to make it sound smart. I'm just showing how fucking stupid we are. Because he's not that hard to deal with. That's what blows my mind. He's not a complicated man to understand.
No, he's not. He's actually...
Does it suck to deal with him? Yes, because he's an asshole. But at the end of the day, he's not hard to deal with. It's super simple. The game plan is simple. Stroke his ego. Make sure he feels good, that he feels like the most powerful man in the room. Bang, bang, you're done.
And the fact of the matter is, he is the president of the United States, and he is the most powerful man in the room. Like, people have been tying themselves in knots, pretending like he's so hard. No, he's not. It's only complicated if you try to assess him through the lens of a regular politician. Then you're going to get all fucked up. But once you throw that model out and understand, he's very id dominated, right? He's just very he's just a dominant. He's sort of a caveman in his personality. And once you understand that and see him through that lens, he's actually incredibly easy to understand. He wants to be the big dick in the room. And if you allow him to feel that way, you will do well, or as well as you can do. Like, the idea of no tariffs at all, that was never going to happen. That's off the table. But you could probably got away with 10% tariffs. Yeah, as Joe says, you were right, Nico, feed them, fuck them, and leave them alone. Yeah, that's you have to do it.
We don't have a choice. It's not a choice.
No, yeah, exactly, right? And Carney put himself in a position where he feels he can't stroke his ego because he ran on elbows up and he's worried it'll make him look weak. But that's why you don't do that, right? That's why you don't run a campaign on being anti-Trump and being, we're gonna stick it to Trump if you don't have that ability. Or even if you want to run your campaign like that, the second that it's done is when you pivot. It wouldn't be the first time a politician says one thing to win an election, and then as soon as they win, they do the other thing. Like, this is the time when it actually would have been good. They always do it the times when it's bad, right? They say something that they're going to do that's good, and then they always go back on it. Now he says something he's going to do that's bad, but he didn't go back on it.
No, but he's going to have to. He's going to have to take it. That big black veiny cock's coming.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to have to take it. Somebody's going to have to take it. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, it is what it is. Like, there's a place and a time for everything. If you have the big dick in the room, then leadership is swinging it around. But if you don't have the big dick, leadership is sucking whatever biggest one is there, right? That's leadership. That's what you have to do.
Hey, Dano, I don't know if you've been on the show before. I don't remember your name, but you're gonna fit right in. If Pierre was half as smart as he thinks,
Yeah, that's
he
a
would
good
be a
point.
good time for him to reach out to Trump, get him on his side before the budget gets shot down. Again, I agree with you. Pierre is not that
Yeah.
smart, and he is not a
No.
leader, so obviously he's not gonna do that. But if Pierre had some balls, which I know he doesn't, he's not a courageous man, but if he did, this would be the perfect time to step up and simply say,
Call him
guys,
through the back
Doug,
channels.
Doug, no, do it publicly. Doug, you're a fucking moron. Why would you ever do that when we are in a trade deal with the US? Trump wants to get his ego, he wants to get stroked.
Yeah.
Like he wants
And
do it publicly. Just get your fucking camera, start shooting, saying, I do not condone what Doug Ford did. This is not the way we handle Canadian democracy, the Canadian trade deal with the US. We should have never spent 75 millions of taxpayers' money on such campaign. The best way to negotiate is to sit down, be polite, and try to find a solution that works for both of the countries. That's it. You're done. And Mark Carney, why are you not calling out Doug Ford on that mistake? That's it. 30-second clip. I'll write it out for you. I'll write out the fucking narrative you need to say. Done. Did you know not one single person on the conservative side is against that message? Everybody is like, what the fuck did you do, Doug? Are you fucking retarded? There's nobody on the conservative side that is against, that is going for, oh yeah, Doug Ford did the right thing here. No, none. Zero.
Stay in your
Zero.
fucking lane, Doug Ford.
No, but this is the perfect time for Pierre Poilievre to grow a pair, which it doesn't exist. They haven't dropped yet. But I agree with you. Really, really well said, man. I agree, Dano. Absolutely, it's a perfect time for him to step up to the plate, and it's a give. It's a gimme. He's literally in the end zone, just waiting on the ball. But he's gonna probably.
And I think he should be doing it publicly, like you say. But I think there's also value in simultaneously reaching out to the back channels to Trump and saying, "Look, man, these guys are fucked. Like when I get elected, me and you can work together. You know, you're a smart guy. Butter him up, play his ego. It doesn't matter if he believes you or not. He doesn't care if you mean it. He just wants to see you do it. He wants you to kiss the ring. Like there are certain personality types. I'm like this. If I feel someone sucking up to me or like lying to me to butter up my ego, I distrust them. I don't like that.
Lies. You let them swallow, then you never do it again.
No, yeah, that's right. But there are other guys like Trump. He doesn't care. He doesn't care if it's fake. He doesn't care if you actually mean it or not. He just wants you to kiss the ring because it's a public display of his dominance, and that's all you got to do. It's really not hard.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. It is, but great point, Dano. Perfect time for if I was Pierre Poilievre, I would have jumped all over this to say, I don't agree. Carney, why are you not calling out Doug Ford? Mr. President, we need to resolve this.
Yeah.
We need to resolve this. Let's sit down. Let's figure it out. If Mark Carney's not ready to do it, I will. It's super simple. It's a gimme. It's like
it's a game. It's a gimmick.
30-second clip. It would be
It's
perfect.
a political stunt, but that's what politics is.
That's all. But that's all Poilievre does.
Yeah,
is those little public stunts. Like he could eat an apple again. He could relive that moment from a few years ago.
he's still trying to. He's still running hard on that Apple fucking video, man. That was his high watermark. He's it's been all downhill from there. Guys, we're gonna put a pin in there. Excellent show tonight. Lots of new faces, lots of engagement, lots of comments. If you want to support the show, please consider becoming a member through YouTube. You can do that through the low price of $2.99 per month. You can also buy us a coffee up in the top right or left, one of these two, and that will also support the show. You can help build the community here, help us continue to bring you this high quality content, and just help support independent media. Excellent start to the week, guys. We got all week to talk about this and whatever else pops up. But other than that, have a great rest of your night. We'll see you tomorrow night.
All I'm going to add, guys, we started a dedicated YouTube platform.
Yes. Yeah.
So please go follow at the Political Orphans. I'm going to put it right now before the show ends. I'm going to put
it's a second YouTube channel. and
dedicated to this. Rusty Wiener just
Rusty Wiener's back. Rusty, we were talking about your quote there.
Oops, we fucked it up again, but you get all the credits in the world. But yeah, guys, before we end the show, just go follow the Political Orphans on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit that bell. We are really just priming everything up to help us out to reach more and more people through the algorithm that I tend to fuck up with my content, because I always go down rabbit holes of conspiracy theories that are no good on YouTube. So dedicated YouTube channel in order to help us reach more people at the Political Orphans. So make sure to go there, guys. Like it, comment.
Can we do hyperlinks
subscribe.
here?
No, we can't, but it's really at the Political Orphans. So
yeah, it's just Nico added it there. And like,
actually, you know what? Give me a second before we kill it. Just if you have something to say, go do it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say,
I can put one in the actual YouTube chat, and I'll go there.
Okay, sweet. When during the show, you can still put your comments on through this one, but it'll help us with the algorithm to go over and like and subscribe to that one. And who knows, maybe that one will become the main comment one, and everyone will shuffle over there. But
it will be. That's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah.
The goal is to send everything there 100%. So guys, just give me 1 second. Talk for 30 seconds, and I'll go put it.
I'll take Rusty Wiener's comment here. He says they're petulant children gambling with someone else's money. It's insider trading. Carney doesn't care if he tanks the economy. He gets rich on the stock market. Yeah, I think you were missed most of the show, Rusty. But that's kind of what we were talking about. Is why is Mark Carney not dragging Doug Ford over the coals? This is a liberal prime minister who, at least on paper, Doug Ford is a conservative, a member of the opposite party, and he is tanking your trade negotiations, and not a peep from Carney. That doesn't make any fucking sense at all, unless Carney is somehow benefiting from this and he doesn't want Doug Ford to be like, well, wait a minute, Mark, you told me to do this.
100%.
Even if it was like, if I know Doug Ford is ideologically, pretty liberal, but let's say he was on the Liberal Party, maybe you could say, oh, he's just protecting Doug Ford, but he's on paper a member of the opposite party. There's no reason at all why Mark Carney should not be throwing him under the bus. Bristol's Troop says because he wants this. That's kind of the only that's the implication. It's kind of the only plausible explanation, because if he was not involved, he would be like, because Doug Ford made him look terrible, made Mark Carney look terrible. He undermined Mark Carney, and Mark Carney is not going to say a word. That's either incredible weakness of the type that I don't like. For all the things, Mark Carney, I don't think he's weak in that way. I think he would have had no problem.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I think he would have no problem calling out Doug Ford if he had nothing to do with this. It's just so crazy.
All done on purpose. This is all coordinated. They're all working together behind the scene to tank our economy. Again, I've said this so many times since Carney's been running to become prime minister, but Carney's here to finish what Trudeau started and to make sure that we end up like China, and we end up under the WEF, the WHO, and all the UN nation bullshit, one world government that's coming. That's what I think is happening. So
yeah, I mean, Bristles, and this is the last comment before we sign off. Bristles says, Orange Man bad. Yeah, that was a really good comment. I think it was Dano. And he was saying that essentially they think the argument was that Carney and Ford cooked this up in case the budget doesn't pass and an election happens. They want to keep the Orange Man bad meme or that's still going so that he could take advantage of it during the election. But yeah, it smells. It stinks, right? And if it walks like a duck and looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a fucking duck. Other than that, guys, have a great night. We'll catch you tomorrow night.